Hey guys, welcome back to the part 2 or the volume 2 of the mini series titled How to Get Out of Debt. And I titled this volume, What are the Causes of Debt? So I'm going to be giving you 12 reasons here. Now, I know that there are some of you who will say, come on, is this necessary? Why don't you just go straight to the point? Well, I would love to go straight to the point, but I believe that until and unless we address the causes of debt, you may never come out of it. A lot of times, most people don't know why they entered into debt in the first place. They don't know what got them into debt in the first place. So for that reason, they keep trying to come out of what they did not know how they entered into it. You get the point now? So I believe this is the most important part of this mini series. I know there are lots of people out there, who have written books. I've gone through a lot of courses on how to get out of debt before I came up with this plan. I have, read books. I've read articles on how to come out of debt. And I discovered most of these materials don't address this issue. And until and unless it is addressed, trust me, it is not possible to come out of debt. It's not possible. Recently I came across a particular news concerning a nation. I don't want to mention the name, okay? But the citizens of that nation just kept on getting into debt again and again. I mean, the debt rate in the nation is so high to the point that the government now, they are trying to see what they can do to address this situation. So as at the last time I checked, they were trying to see how they could organize financial education for each citizen, and then an instruction was given to all banks, to limit the way in which loans are being given to the citizens. Now, why did they come up with this strategy? Because they saw it that the citizens were just taking loans, so they needed to address few things so that there could be a check in the lives of the citizens, so that they don't continue in that path. And I love what they did. They made up their mind, to organize financial education for their citizens. This is something that you need to know if you truly want to come out of debt. Listen, financial education is one of your greatest assets. I'm going to be doing a video on that. Financial education is one of your greatest financial assets. Your greatest financial asset, they are not the houses that you build, they are not the cars, they are not the expensive or the luxury things that you use. Hear me, the greatest asset any man can have is financial education. Because when all else is taken from you, that knowledge cannot be taken from you. Anywhere you go, you will thrive. Anywhere you go, you will thrive. That's why I did a course on the power of financial education. I'll put the link in the description below. Go through that course so that you will see what financial education can do in your life. There are too many people out there who don't give attention when it comes to financial education. They just shrug it off like, come on, is this what? I'm not cut out for all this. But you see, financial education is the key if you truly want to enjoy financial freedom. Trust me. So without further ado, let's get right into this thing. The first point that I wrote down here, or rather the first causes, is economic issues. Just like what the world is going through right now. I get it. When economic issues are there, people are forced to go into taking loans, which finally end in debt. Is quite understanding, So the first thing is economic issues. As long as economic issues are there, people will always fall for these things because they have to survive. The second thing I wrote down here is loss of jobs. These are another major reasons why people get into debt, because they've got bills to pay. They've got their electricity bill to pay. They've got lots and lots of bill, mortgages and all that. They've got these bills to pay. So in order to be able to meet up, they find themselves, taking loans and all that. So that is something that causes debt also. Number 3, wrong spending habit. People get into debt when they don't have the right spending habit. Now, this is so important because if one of the reasons you've gotten into debt is as a result of the wrong spending habits, now that you know these, it becomes easy for you to know what to work on so that you don't continue in debt. You see the point now? So, the next thing that I wrote down here is gratification before time. These are also another reason why people fall into debt. I'm telling you. That moment where you want to enjoy certain things and you don't have the kind of earnings to sustain those things that you want to enjoy. This is what happens. You fall into debt. So think about it. The debt you are in currently. Could it be because you wanted to have fun before time? Could it be that the reason you took that credit card, or the reason you are in that credit card debt, is because you decided to spend money on certain things that you just wanted for your own gratification, not considering your income? This is also another causes of debt. When you understand this, it becomes easy for you to know what to work on. Because see, one thing is to get out of debt, another thing is to stay debt free. Think about it. There are 3 things, or rather there are 2 things. One is to get out of debt. Number 2 is to stay debt free. So it's not enough for you to come out of it. The major thing is that you don't go back into it. I know some of you will be like, come on, it's not in this world that we are living, it's not possible to live without debt. Trust me, there are people who are living without debt. Especially when you are financially educated, you can actually live without debt because all your spendings will be planned because of your knowledge. So, gratification before time. That's one reason many people get into debt. Another reason I wrote down here is ignorance of financial realities. That is, no financial education. There are too many people who are ignorant of financial realities. There are people who have entered into credit card debt today because they know nothing about financial education. So they just dabble into this thing. It has happened to me before. If you've seen one of my videos where I did something I did on credit card, I'll put the link below so you can just go through it. I think the title of that video is Attitude You Must Possess If You Must Use the Credit Card. Something like that, So I did that video and I spoke about how I got a credit card without knowing the intricacies involved. So this is one reason why many people fall into debt. Ignorance of financial realities, ignorance of financial knowledge, or having no financial education at all. Now, the next point that I wrote down here is unforeseen family problems. This is also another reason why people fall into debt. Unforeseen family problems. Maybe it has to do with health condition. Maybe it has to do with a family member losing their job. So they will have no choice but to get into these things. So I'm just sharing with you the various reasons why people fall for these things. Sadly, 8 in every 10 persons you see on the street or on the road are into debt. And very many don't even know why they got into this. You'll be shocked how many people are out there who are into serious debt. And if you're watching and you are into serious debt, Don't panic. By the time you go through this course, I believe that there is so much that will change in your life. Trust me. It's just a matter of time. Okay? Now, the next thing that I wrote down here is, wanting to prove what you're not. This is also another reason why many people get into debt. And this is very common with teenagers. That moment where they want to show off. They want to show off. They want to let their peers know that, they've got money. I mean, it's not necessary, but because of youthful exuberance, they get into these things. They take credit card because, now they are due to take credit card. So wanting to prove what you are not. And this also happens with ladies and also matured folks as well. And it's wrong. If you want to stay out of debt in future, don't prove to anybody anything, because truly nobody cares. And even if they care, hear me, when it's time to start paying back those loans, they are not going to help you to do that. So what's the point trying to impress people who cannot even do anything for you when it comes to paying back those loans? Remember, you are not living to impress anybody. If you want to impress anybody, impress yourself. And don't compete with anybody, because competition is also another reason why people fall into debt. Trying to live up to expectation, trying to be in a class that is way higher than your income. So that's something that needs to be worked on. Another reason why people get into debt is procrastination. A lot of times there are people who just, they don't pay their bills on time. They don't pay their credit card payments on time. And so when they don't do this, there is this late fee that comes up. And those late fees, hear me, it puts you into more debt. And so you keep paying and paying and paying. Now, I'm sharing these few thoughts with you because if you are able to know the causes of these things, it will go a long way to help you come out of it. So if one of the reasons you've gotten into debt is procrastination, then make up your mind you will not procrastinate again. It is a step to getting out of debt. Trust me. Now, the next point that I wrote down here is wrong decisions and choices. This is also another major causes of debt. That moment where you make the wrong decision about your finances, that moment where you make the wrong choices, you will pay for that wrong decision in the years to come. You have to be very careful when it comes to making decisions with your money. Wrong decisions have led people into serious credit card debt. Wrong decisions. And the funny thing about debt is like a hole. It's like a hole, a never-ending hole. You must develop skills and tactics to be able to come out of that hole. For example, there are people right now who don't even think that they can come out of debt. They don't think about it because they've tried again and again, and the more they tried, the more they got into it. So, wrong decisions and choices. If you are able to tackle this, I'm telling you, you will get out of debt in no time. You get the point now. So that's something that needs to be worked on. The next causes of debt here is wrong investment. Wrong investment. There are people who have made a wrong investment. They took loans, which was supposed to be a good debt, but they ended up investing it in the wrong business. In some cases, some people invested in a business that they thought was going to thrive, but they didn't know it was fraud. So that got them into serious debt. So that's something that you need to be mindful of. Be mindful of your investments. And the next point is poor financial management. Again, this is another very important one. That moment where you are not able to manage your finances very well, you will always fall into debt. So the question is, the debt that you have found yourself right now, could it be out of poor financial management? And guess what? This always happens when you have very low financial education. One of the things that I love so much about financial education is that it helps you to make the right financial decisions and also helps you to manage your finances well. See, it doesn't matter how much you earn. If you lack financial education, you will be like a man who is earning nothing, because money will come to your hands, and because of poor financial management, it will leave your hands and you don't even know what took the money. So poor financial management is a problem here. The next point is, no income or poor income. A lot of times when people are not earning well, they end up in taking that credit card loan, or somehow they just end up in debt. And that's because they are trying to meet up. So poor or no income is also a major cause of debt. You get the point now. Now, the next thing that I wrote down here, and this is very, very important. I want you to pay very close attention, because this last point is so important. And that is the inability to say no. No in the financial world is a very important thing. I mean, if you want to succeed financially, you must learn to say no. There are too many people who didn't need a credit card, but just because they couldn't say no to that bank official when they were trying to sell the credit card to them, they got into debt. So there is something about you saying no. The moment you are not able to say no to certain things, you've put yourself in a very huge mess. So this is something that you truly have to work on if you want to come out of debt. So that'll be all for volume 2. I believe that you've gotten value from this. Now, remember, the objective of this very section of the mini-series is just to be able to lecture you so that you can understand the reasons why people get into this thing, because I believe that until and unless you understand the reason, you may never know how to come out of these things. So don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to comment, to drop me a comment in the comment box, and most importantly, share with your friends and families who you know will benefit from this course. Until I speak to you again, keep cracking the money code. I will see you in the next volume.